We have just learned that President Trump is pausing all military aid to Ukraine after that public clash with Zelensky last week in the Oval Office. But this is now rubber meets the road. All military aid to Ukraine from the U.S. on hold right now.
We are learning tonight that President Trump has ordered a pause to all military aid that is not yet inside of the country. So that means that it applies to all military equipment that is not yet in country. The White House is saying that a pause could be lifted if Volodymyr Zelensky demonstrates a new commitment to negotiating to end the war. And we heard the president say earlier today he wants to hear some appreciation from Zelensky. But Aaron, underscoring all of this is simply that this is music to Vladimir Putin's ears. This is what the Kremlin, they were aligned with Washington, they said, over the weekend.
So to seize that, to pause it and stop it is an incredible blow to Ukraine and its military at a crucial time here, especially when the Kremlin and Russian forces on the ground will absolutely celebrate this and push harder, as we've seen them do over the course of the past several days and weeks.
It's the latest move President Trump has pulled to make it blatantly clear that he's completely sided with Vladimir Putin and against the country that he invaded. But it's not the only thing he's done for Russia in this war.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered U.S. Cyber Command to halt offensive cyber operations against Russia. We should note this happened before that meeting at the Oval Office on Friday.
Pete Hegseth has ordered this halt. A senior Defense Department official declined to comment on this, citing security operation concerns. That being said, we know that it's a cyber security agency housed within the Homeland Department office has said that they're going to continue on with their cybersecurity operations. And we know that President Biden and others have said that Russia remains a global cybersecurity threat. The Trump administration, while not explaining why they're doing this, they have been saying that they're open to opening more diplomatic channels with Russia, including staffing U.S. embassies in Russia, as well as opening up diplomatic ties and initiating talks on the peace talks when it comes to ending the war in Ukraine.
So not only halting military aid to Ukraine, but loosening cyber operations against Russia. The set of moves directly makes Ukraine more vulnerable and Russia more aggressive. So while this White House claims it's trying to get him to come to the negotiating table, they're giving Putin fewer and fewer reasons to do it.
What is Zelensky doing right now?
Well, number one, what the vice president says, and what's said, just to go over what he just said, well, the vice president said that he's just trying to, Zelensky's point was, Vladimir Putin does the killing. Vladimir Putin did the invading. Vladimir Putin's been killing since 2014. And in 1997, we were promised security while he was still acting on the stage somewhere. And he was elected to bring peace to with Vladimir Putin. He talked to Vladimir Putin every single time, 25 times he has lied to him in the past. And that was his point. If the president wants maximum leverage for a great negotiation, he shouldn't do Russia a favor and cut off the aid to Ukraine, because he just did Russia a huge advantage. Now what's Russia's incentive to get to the table? And for Zelensky, he should say, this is a great deal I had. How the heck did it get off the rails? Right. I should put my pride aside, pick up the phone before the speech and say, Mr. President, let's work this out.
Yeah, man, even Brian Kilmeade understands how pro-Russia these moves really are. He said if Trump wants maximum leverage for a great negotiation, he shouldn't do Putin any favors by cutting off aid to Ukraine. He even gave the context of security guarantees for Ukraine that date back to the 90s. The whole thing about Zelensky needing to put his pride aside is inconsequential to Trump, who doesn't actually care about any thank yous or apologies. He and Vance only used those empty demands to blame Zelensky for the original objective to side with Putin. Don't forget, the lifting of cyber operations happened before the Oval Office fight, so they can't even use that as an excuse.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, he's ordered a pause to offensive cyber operations in Russia. So why are we doing this, and why are we doing it now?
I'm sorry, who did that?
Pete
I didn't
Hegseth
get that.
is ending offensive cyber operations in Russia as of now. And
I don't know why he's doing that. The Russians are attacking us every single day. The Chinese are attacking us every single day. I don't think you signal the Russians that, hey, we're going to unilaterally withdraw from this space. If they can keep attacking us, and they do every single day, they should be fearful of our capacity to inflict damage on them. So I really don't understand where that's coming from.
It makes it look like we're moving to Russia's side, doesn't it? Or I hate to use the word, but tilting towards Russia. Looks like that.
Well, that would be a mistake on my side. This is not something new. Russian aggression is not something new. That's why all those nations there are petrified of what's going on in Ukraine, fearing that they're going to be next. We cannot show weakness with Russia.
So it's weird how all these conservatives and elected Republicans can see all the warning signs that Trump is carrying out to assist Putin and completely change the direction of our foreign policy in favor of Russian interests, but they still can't complete the thought that it's exactly what Trump means to do. So while they ponder why their president is working for the aggressor, he's taking his pro-Russia stance to the next level.
From Russia saying that your foreign policy is largely in line with their vision. Should that be concerning to Americans?
Said what?
Should that be concerning to Americans?
Read the statement.
That Russia says that your administration's foreign policy is, quote, largely in line with their vision.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think it takes two to tango, and you're going to have to make a deal with Russia, and you're going to have to make a deal with Ukraine. You're going to have the assent, and you're going to have the consent from the European nations, because I think that's important, and from us. I think everybody has to get into a room, so to speak, and we have to make a deal. Now, maybe somebody doesn't want to make a deal, and if somebody doesn't want to make a deal, I think that person won't be around very long. That person will not be listened to very long. Because I believe that Russia wants to make a deal. I believe certainly the people of Ukraine want to make a deal. They've suffered more than anybody else. We talk about suffering.
Now, the question was whether or not he's disturbed by Russia saying that his actions are in line with their vision. But he ended up talking about how Zelensky shouldn't be around very long because he's the only one that doesn't want to make a deal. How does he know that Putin's excited about making a deal when their talking point is that they need to kiss his ass just to get him to the negotiating table? Doesn't sound very eager. But he made sure to go back to his propaganda about how great he has been regarding Russia versus past presidents. And you won't be surprised at how none of it makes any sense, considering how quickly he's dropped to a knee in front of Putin.
If you think about it, under President Bush, they got Georgia, right? Russia got Georgia. Under President Obama, they got a nice big submarine base, a nice big chunk of land where they have their submarines. You know that, right? Crimea. Under President Trump, they got nothing. And under President Biden, they tried to get the whole thing. They tried to get the whole big Ukraine, the whole thing. If I didn't get in here, they would have gotten the whole thing. Putin is the one that will tell you this has not been so good for them. The fact is that I just want fairness. I want fairness. But think of it. I gave Russia nothing except grief. I gave them nothing. But remember, Trump gave them nothing, and the other presidents gave them a lot. They gave them everything.
Since he has to repeat his self-promotional lines over and over again, it's a pretty clear sign that those are the lies he needs gullible people to believe to advance his and Putin's interests. He had MAGA representatives all over Sunday shows to push it for him. But the dumbest man in the Senate, football coach Tommy Tuberville, doesn't know how to push that lie that Zelensky is holding up negotiations. He just gives away the entire scheme without thinking.
What do you make of the messaging between Ukraine, the EU, and our president?
Well, first of all, the EU and Zelensky are on the same team. They're not on the same team as President Trump and Vice President Vance. I've been watching this for 4 years now, really 3 years since the war started. Actually was over in Ukraine right before the war started. Zelensky, for some reason, wants this war to keep going. And he has been, I guess, brainwashed by the globalist socialist group in Europe and even some over here that, hey, just keep this thing going. We'll keep funneling money to you. But they couldn't be more wrong. President Trump is tired of people dying, our American taxpayer dollars going over there. And so he'll try to get this finished. But Zelensky's going to play hardball. But you know what? He's not even in the game. It's going to be Putin and President Trump and the people on our side that will end up making this decision for the future of Ukraine.